Behind me is the Siren part of the boundary alarm system. That thing is supposed to be as loud as a jet engine taking off, so I'm gonna try it and see if it blows my ears out. But what I'm gonna do is I am gonna wear ear protection because I'm not stupid and I only get one set of ears. Let's give this a go. Oh, that is loud. A huge shout out to Boundary for sending out their medium bundle for review and sponsoring this episode. But as always, you'll be hearing my unrestricted opinion about both the things I love and the things that I think could be improved. This is the Boundary alarm system. It comprises of two sensors, a hub which has its own built-in 85 decibel siren, and if that's not enough, there's an even larger outdoor siren which you've just seen. And to scratch the surface, it features real-time notifications, geolocation reminders, partial arming, and a hidden feature that I cannot wait to show you that makes this system super powerful for anyone with a smart home. It's currently the only smart alarm system in the UK that's testing to meet the UK and EU alarm standards. The sensors communicate together with the hub using low-energy Z-Wave technology, meaning a much securer connection. But the real question is, how does it perform? So that's the full current system that Boundary offer, and as a whole every part of this system is super well designed and has almost an Apple-esque feel about it. Even the key fob looks sleek, but let's pick apart each gadget within that range, starting with the hub. Now on the surface it seems like a simple piece of kit. Big buttons, colour screen, a friendly aesthetic, but this thing actually has a ton of hidden features. Firstly, and the most obvious hidden feature, is that it uses USB-C to charge and power its internal battery. This means that it's much more flexible than traditional hardwired systems, and it means that essentially you can use your own cables to find a placement that suits you best. But talking about placement, this is where some of the hidden features come to light. The back of the hub comes off to access the charging port, and this plate is used as the wall mounting plate. Now, if the hub is removed from the wall or disturbed from the plate in any way, it sends a tamper notification to the main screen saying that it's detected that tampering. This is awesome, and it means that you can be safe in the knowledge that you'll know if someone has tried to mess around with your system and get into it. But interestingly, if you didn't want to mount it to the wall, you can use a desk stand for it. Another hidden feature is the little NFC icon at the bottom. Now, this is for the included key fobs, and by swiping them against the hub, you can disarm the alarm. And you can also authorize and deauthorize each individual key fob through the app. Also, as mentioned, it has the ability to stay on when there's no power for up to 12 hours, and with the cellular backup, it means there's always going to be the device on to protect your home. So overall, the hub is a simple yet powerful tool that acts as the head and the brain of the system. But let's take a look at the arms and the legs. Now, the PIR sensors are essentially a much more clever version of a motion detector, as each have an inbuilt pair of what's called a pyroelectric sensor that can essentially monitor heat through infrared. Now, when there's been a change between the two sensors, it activates the alarm because it detects that movement. This type of sensor to detect motion has a bunch of benefits, but most obviously it stops unnecessary triggers of motion and therefore unnecessary triggers of the alarm. But it also means that these sort of things can work in the dark. But what's super cool though is that they've been calibrated to ignore pets under around 35 kilograms, which for the most of us, as will be, Even my pet dog is about 27 kilograms and he's massive. But there's something else really, really special that these things can do, but I'll get onto that in just a second. The other types of sensor that makes up the boundary system is the contact sensors, which can be essentially used on doors or windows. Now, these perhaps aren't quite as interesting or as exciting as the PIR sensors, but they are simple to use. Simply put one on the frame and one on the door or window, and when the contact is broken, it will then trigger the alarm. Now, there's a couple of things that I really like about both of these sensors. The first is that both have anti-tamper technology, just like the hub. So if someone plays around with it, you'll know about it either from the hub or the app. And that's invaluable. But the next is that they all have a 12-month battery life. And these take the standard CR123 batteries, so easy to replace, and essentially makes it a completely wireless system. Also, each sensor has a temperature sensor in it, which means that if you have a motion detector, say for example in each room, you have the ability straight away to see the temperature throughout your house. And that includes the Siren, which does your outdoor temperature. But the last hidden thing that these sensors can do is perhaps one of the best things about this entire system, and an absolute golden opportunity for anyone wanting to supercharge their smart home. The boundary system, as a whole, can be integrated directly with systems like Amazon Echo so that you can arm it with your voice, which is handy. You can also integrate it with IFTTT, which essentially has a load of possibilities. So one of the examples would be turning on all the lights in the house if the alarm gets triggered, which is a really useful deterrent. Or you could potentially turn everything red for that added sense of dread. Now, whereas these are extremely useful, I felt there was something missing when I initially set up the system. I was a little bit underwhelmed with the fact that the only things I could seemingly do from a smart home perspective were basic IFTTT integration through triggers on alarm states or arm and disarm through Alexa. So I emailed Boundary and said that it was a bit disappointing that I couldn't use each sensor individually to trigger my own routines or automations when the whole system wasn't alarmed. Turns out you can. They emailed back and explained that if you connect through the SmartThings app, you can then get access to each individual sensor. And once you've added it through there, you can actually then get access to each individual sensor through Amazon Echo individually. This is such a powerful feature, and it means that the boundary system isn't just an alarm system, it's something much, much more. Because of this, it means that you could do things like set the PIR sensor to trigger the lights to turn on in a room when motion is detected in that room. So when you walk in, the lights turn on. Or perhaps you could set it to play your flash briefing, turn the kettle on and put the heating on if the sensors detect motion in the hallway between 7 a.m. and 7:15 a.m. during the week, maybe to coincide with going to work. But you could even do things like use the contact sensors to set reminders with Alexa when you come home from work, or play music as you enter the house. The possibilities of this are quite simply endless. If you did want a motion sensor, for example, in every single room to supercharge your smart home, then one of the benefits of this system is that you can actually buy every single part of it individually, meaning you can continue to add as you go along. And the thing is, the cost of both the contact sensor and the PIR sensors are just £30 each, which is not unreasonable at all and actually extremely competitive. There is something else that you can buy to add on to the entire system as well, and it's not necessary, but it will certainly act like a deterrent, visible and audio, and that's the outdoor siren. It might not be quite as loud as a jet engine taking off, but bloody hell, this thing is ridiculously loud. And let me tell you, if you were breaking into somewhere and this thing started going off outside, you'd be running away from that place faster than a child to an ice cream van. That thing is deafening. The battery life on the Siren is reported to be the same 12 months as the two sensors, which is pretty good, although the Siren uses 8 batteries. Thankfully, these are AA batteries, which are slightly cheaper to replace, and you could ultimately use rechargeable ones in the long run. Now, it also has the same tamper-proof technology that both the indoor sensors and the hub use, and this can't be understated as it adds that extra level of security that many competing systems just don't have. Now, the app that controls the Siren and the rest of the system is actually pretty straightforward and understandable straight off the bat. The home screen shows you rooms that have the sensors in them, as well as the temperature of each room taken from those sensors included in that room, and it also shows whether the room is secure or not based on the states of those sensors. Super handy for a really quick glance at your home security. Now, the settings section gives you a few extra things like the ability to add or remove key fobs, but there's a cool feature in here called activity alerts, which allows you to set alerts based on activity or inactivity. So, for example, you could set it to alert you if the motion sensor hasn't detected any motion in your child's bedroom between 7 a.m. and 7:15 a.m. when they're supposed to be getting up for school. But then again, if you're using the full-scale automations and you have this integrated through SmartThings, then it's probably not something that you might use, because in that case, you could, in theory, get your Echo devices to automatically shout obscenities at your children if the movement isn't detected, then play a Siren and set all the lights to go into party mode.
Wake up now, you lazy son of a...
So, that's the hub, the two sensors, the Siren, the key fobs, and that's where the boundary system stops. That is until I discovered this, the Boundary AI camera. Now, apparently this is an AI camera that's advanced enough to be able to determine whether a person has good or malicious intent. What the hell this will work like, I don't know. And there's other questions that need to be answered, like, what if you like to dress in all black and wear tights on your head and dance around outside your house? Will it think you've got malicious intent, or will it understand that you've got some unusual weekend hobbies? I don't know. Well, that's going to be obviously for a test. But at this moment, it's still in development in collaboration with the University of Edinburgh, and no information on timescale or price just at this moment in time. But I was told to watch this space when asking for comment. But all I can say is that if it's as good as the rest of the system, I've got no doubt that this thing is going to be incredible. Price depending, of course. Because talking about price, looking at the price of the whole system, actually, it's really competitive. As mentioned earlier, the standard sensors cost £30, which is not unreasonable. But if you wanted to buy a bundle and get more stuff, then they start at just $299 for the basic system, which comprises of a hub, a PIR sensor, a contact sensor, and 2 key fobs. All in all, not too bad. However, Boundary have sent me a code for you guys to use that will knock 45% off. That makes the starter bundle just £164, and better still, that makes the medium bundle, which has 4 motion sensors, 2 door sensors, a base station, 2 key fobs and a Siren, £274, which really is unbelievable value. But there are a few considerations that you'll need to make when contemplating the overall cost. And the first will be the cost of the replacement batteries. Currently, a pack of 2 CR123 batteries is about £6. So let's say if you have 3 motion sensors and 2 contact sensors in the house, that's about £24 a year. And then there's the 8 batteries in the Siren, which costs about another £6, taking the total to around £30 a year for power after the first years of included batteries run out. That's assuming you don't want to use rechargeable options. And then there's the plans. As standard, you can use Boundary with 2 sensors, so a contact sensor and a PIR sensor, completely free with 2 users. Now, most of the core functionality is available, and thankfully, integration with SmartThings, Echo, IFTTT is all included with the free usage. Interestingly, Boundary got in touch and have told me that this plan will be changing for the better.
What that means, I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out in the next couple of months or so, because they've said watch this space.
If you, however, wanted more sensors paired for added security, or if you're like me and wanted more smart home triggers around the house, it'll cost $9.99 a month, which unlocks unlimited sensor usage and unlimited pairing with sensors. This is in line with the rest of the industry for security package pricing per month. There's Arlo at £9, Blink at $7.50, Abode at $14 and Ring at $8. They're just a few examples. I mean, this does lead into the question of should these systems have planned pricing, but that's another video for another day. Now, there is an even higher tier plan at around £25 a month, which is pricey for sure, but it does give you free battery replacements in the sensors and the Siren, 24/7 professional monitoring, and because of this, police response when alerted by the monitoring centre. So I guess the price is justified, absolutely. Although it would be nice here if that option was pay as you go. So for perhaps maybe if I was going on holiday or going away for a longer period of time and I wanted that added protection just for a short period of time, I'd be happy doing a pay as you go scenario for maybe a week at a time. In conclusion, when I was originally setting up the Boundary kit, I was a little bit underwhelmed. With only 2 types of sensors at the moment, although extremely well designed as a whole, it felt a little bit limiting. However, after playing around with it for a period of time and finding the simplicity of it, it started to change my mind. Moreover, when I integrated it with SmartThings and then pulled across everything into Amazon Echo, so that I could use these to trigger routines, that is when this knocked it out the park. And I can tell you right away that it changed my opinion completely when I started using it for that. So much so that it will absolutely be staying as part of my whole smart home system. And I can tell you this now, when that camera comes out, if it's as good as I hope it's going to be, Boundary will probably end up taking the place of all of my security devices. It's just so powerful, and what can I say? This thing, it is going to be an integral part of my smart home moving forward, and I cannot wait to really get stuck in and see what I can do with it properly. Guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe and notification bell if you want to see more episodes. But other than that, thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you back for another episode of STU'S Reviews soon.